What's going on, guys? My name's Tyler Bean. I was fishing the Bass Nation Kayak Anglers event on Lake Lanier here this weekend. I figured I'd do a little tournament recap. The weather was absolutely horrible, as you could tell in this. I did do a little pre-fishing. I was able to go out and catch a few that I'm going to post a couple pictures of right here. Not too shabby for practice. Day one started out, I went to Clark's Bridge and fished a little pocket to the south. I figured early in the morning that the largemouth would be out munching, and figured I'd throw some topwater lures. You'll see how that looks right here. Started out with a whopper plopper, and it paid off. This is like 10 minutes into the first day. Got a nice little largemouth. At this point, I'm thinking to myself that it's going to be a great bite and everything's going good, and didn't end up working that way. I threw topwater all morning long until about 10 o'clock, with that being my only fish up to that point. Ended up measuring like 16 3/4. Right here I'm going through the whole process, taking the photos and submitting the fish on Tourney X, the app that we have to use with the kayak tournaments. Take a picture, you take a few pictures, select which ones look the best. Put in your length of fish, submit catch, and post it to the leaderboard. That one's in the books. From here I went out, like I said, I threw topwater the rest of the morning, didn't get anything, and figured the wind was picking up, so I'd start hitting some points right off the main lake. I was throwing a chatterbait at this point, trying to work some of these deeper drop-offs, letting it fall as a half-ounce chatterbait. Hooked up here. And I lost it. Which kind of stinks because I only had 4 fish on both of the days, so that would have really helped. Continue working around to the next point, and I swapped out to a shaky head here because there's a bunch of brush piles along the base of this bank here. Just a regular old green pumpkin zoom trick worm. Hooked up again. I think these fish were all sitting on these points just feeding on bait as it was coming by. There just wasn't much size to them. Little guy there. I think I was throwing a VMC rugby head. I like using those for the shaky heads. Nice little 14 3/4 inch fish. Submit that one to the leaderboard and let her go. Continue working on each of these little points you see there. And I ended up jumping across the river because of the wind direction. Tried fishing some of these smaller pockets. I didn't get any video footage of this one. Nice little one that I caught on a chatterbait, 15.5 inch. Went on back into another pocket because at this point the water temp had jumped up to about 57 degrees, and I figured these fish were going to start moving up. So I put on a square bill and start hammering this shallow water. It's showing 15 feet right there where I was at, but the bank over there is only like 8-9 feet. At the most spots from that point back were about 5. So good little transition bank. Figured I'd catch a few on it, but only caught the one, and this is my 4th fish for the day, right at 13 1/4 inches. So they're all tiny right here. Went to the back of this other pocket. I saw this lay down. I figured I'd give it a shot. Cast on the back corner of it. Throwing a shaky head at this point again. reel down on him and set the hook. This would be number 5. But somehow he escaped. So that sticks me at 35th place with 4 fish, 60 1/4 inches total length. Day 2, knowing that I'm not into mixed things, I decided I'm gonna try for largemouth only. So I head on up river to the Chattahoochee and put in at Lula Bridge and start fishing these pockets for these bass that have moved up to start spawning. Water's still around 55, 56 degrees, and I'm pitching a jig at this point. That one you can see him wake up on the bait. You get another look at it here. I'll slow it down. But didn't quite get it. I moved into another pocket, a little clearer water, wasn't so muddy, and I'm throwing a spinnerbait now. The wind had picked up pretty good. I was kind of sheltered right here. You can probably see over there in the corner of the picture that it's got a little breeze on the water. But I'm throwing a spinnerbait right here because all the bait's pushed in this pocket, and I figure these bass are sitting on this corner waiting for me. As they come around the corner, they're smacking them. And so far, it worked out for me. Caught this little guy. This is my first fish on day 2, and it's after lunch already. So I'm in a little panic trying to get some fish in the boat. I think that was an accent spinnerbait, spring ding or something like that. One of those. Either way, it's 14-inch bass. Got my picture submitted, released them. I moved back after the wind died down a little bit in this little spawning pocket, and caught this fish. This is actually my largest one of the tournament. I was throwing a jig, figuring they were moving up, and so far it's paid off for me. Got this one. That's a Gambler swim jig, but I think it's got a Guggen Baits bandito bug or something on it. One of those. It's got green, pumpkin, and blue. Nice color combo out there. 18 inches. She put on a little dance here after the release. I was hoping I could find a few more of them, so I'm up to 2 fish now. Flip back in the same spot just in case, and actually caught the male, surprisingly. So now I've increased my fish up to 3, and I'm starting to run out of time. So snap my picture quickly, get this fish released 13 inches, and start working the bank. I'm trying to give this spot a rest, so maybe it'll refill here shortly. Just working this steep bank right across from it. You know, it's a little deeper water over here. Fish picks up my jig here, and I made the mistake of bringing 12-pound test, thinking I was going to be fishing Lake Lanier deep water spots. There he is, jumping with my jig in his mouth. Wish I'd have had that fish, because I would have filled out my limit that day with 5 fish. And it looked like he was pretty decent. I think he's going to jump here again. After I sit down, you can look off on the left side. He jumps 3 or 4 times and tries to shake that jig out. It was pegged pretty good, I guess. There he goes right there. So I retie another jig on, because I'm still shooting for big fish at this point. Checking the time there, it's 3:23, so I got 7 minutes to try and get 2 fish in the boat. Little roll cast over to the side here, and I flipped it over the top of this twig, and a bass actually picked it up. You see it there in the background, but I didn't quite get a good hook set because I was just trying to pull the jig over the top of the twig and happened to have a fish on there. Give it a minute, I flipped back into the same spot because I really didn't peg him, and he got a hold of it this time. See, whatever it was. So I hooked this one. This is my 4th fish. It's 3:27. I get the fish in the boat, motor over to the bank real quick, pull out my board, get a picture, submit it. I think at 328 I had it submitted, 14.5 inches. This moved me in the 31st place for the whole tournament. I know it wasn't the greatest. I was consistent, right around 60 inches both days. Not bad for the second time fishing this lake. So figured I had fun doing it. I hope y'all enjoyed watching the video. Hit up Westbrook Supply. They can get you set up in a boat similar to what I was fishing in. I was fishing out of the Crescent Crew. And Fletch and the guys over there, good people, they'll hook you up. Y'all check them out. Thanks again.